Chapter 12. You are not leftovers. Stella's words played over and over in Anita's mind as she got ready. Stella was right, of course. As hard as it was to hear her pronouncement about how could Anita change that? Maybe the Weatherby diamond would make the family money. But her parents were saving for a house, and Anita wanted to win the free tuition at school so that the money her parents would have spent could go to her A-levels and then university. How could she expect her parents to buy her a whole new wardrobe as well? But maybe it wasn't just about the clothes. When she made herself smaller so that Lizzie could shine and didn't share what was on her own mind with her parents, she was acting like leftovers. And that had to change. Stella could see her. Maybe it was time the rest of the world did too. The sound of a telephone ringing startled her as she finished her hair, fastening it off her neck as Stella had suggested. She could hear Stella in the other room. Why haven't you done it yet? He'll be back any minute. Pause. Then hurry. Stella loudly hung up the phone. Anita, are you ready or not? Coming, Stella, Anita called, slipping the heels on, which were a half size too big. Though with the lights on, they weren't terrible. Stella had been right. Anita moved quickly from the powder room to the bedroom, where Stella was waiting impatiently, tapping her foot. As she looked at the clock, Anita paused, startled at what Stella was wearing for dinner. The neon pink dress had green and pink feathers around her neck and the cuffs of her sleeves. She'd paired the outfit with high boots. Anita had never seen anything like it. But once again, on Stella, the look worked. I thought you'd never be ready, Stella snapped, her mood having darkened from earlier. Spin so I can make sure you're ready to show Dad his design in action. Dad hates sloppy dinner guests. Anita did as she was told, giving a graceful spin, her skirt fluttering as she turned. Stella exhaled. You look splendid. Come, my father likes dinner to be waiting when he gets in, and that should be any moment, which the staff here would know if they paid attention. That last part was practically shouted, and Anita suspected other people were in the suit, getting dinner prepared. Hearing the clinking of silverware confirmed that to be true. She quietly followed Stella into the dining room and saw dinner had been set for 4, candles lit, the chandelier casting a warm glow on a table full of fine china, expensive silverware, and linen napkins. Soup tureens were steaming with a red broth that smelt heavenly, and golden brown rolls were waiting along with butter in the shape of swans. In the center of the table was roast beef. Roast beef! Meat was still so expensive. Anita hadn't had a roast in ages, and this one was sliced and waiting with an au choix sauce and mini roasted potatoes. Stella was barking again, this time at one of the wait staff who had delivered the meal. Did you remember salt and pepper for the table this time? Yes, Miss DeVille, the girl serving them, dressed in a smart-looking hotel uniform with a matching jacket and skirt, was visibly shaking. And the biscuits have been made fresh this evening? Yes, Miss DeVille. You're positive? My father can taste the difference. Last night you tried to serve us cherry pie that was a few days old. My father won't stand for that again. The kitchen is aware, Miss DeVille. It won't happen again. Stella nodded. Then I think this should be good for now, but don't go far. I'm not sure what my father will want to drink when he arrives. The girl covered the food with metal lids, then scurried off to the side of the room where another staff member was waiting. The two talked quietly to each other, both sneaking glances at Stella, who was practically vibrating as she checked and rechecked every detail of the table. Knives and forks in the proper places, water glasses filled, light music playing from the record player in the room. She also kept glancing at her appearance in the mirror, smoothing her hair, double-checking that the feathers on her sleeves were all combed the same way, and it made Anita wonder why Stella was so nervous. Did her father demand she enforce such things at dinner? If so, what else was he demanding of when it came to his business or with school? Maybe this was why he's imposed a B or better average to Stella at Highbrook. To Anita, it seemed like Stella was under an awful lot of pressure. The sound of the suite door opening made the waitstaff snap to attention. Stella moved towards that doorway, waving Anita over to do the same. "Stand by me and wait for me to introduce you," Stella whispered. Through the door walked the most stylish man Anita had ever seen. Anita recognized Richard DeVille from Modern Screen magazine. He was taller than he looked in pictures, and his peach complexion was sunnier than Stella's, which bordered in almost white. But he and Stella had the same dark eyes. Anita wondered for a moment if he shared his daughter's unique hair situation, though it was hard to tell since he was bald. His domed head was so shiny it appeared polished, like his expensive black dress shoes. The man looked sharp, no doubt because he worked in fashion. He was trailed by at least 5 different people, all talking at once, some carrying bags, one dragging a bell cart full of dresses, one asking questions. And then there was one man hurrying along with a clipboard, writing down everything Richard DeVille was saying. "Richard, should I tell him 8 or 9 dozen yards of the red velvet fabric?" "Make it 12, Mr. DeVille said pleasantly. "We don't want to be short." Megan wants an invitation to the gala, but she wants to bring 4 guests. She gets 2, unless she agrees to wear House of DeVille to the event. "We can't keep gifting her things she doesn't wear," he said. "Richard, I just got off the phone with Common Pictures again, asking if you'd consider lending 6 gowns and 10 suits for their production of Baby, I'm a Showstopper. Do we even have 6 gowns to lend? For Hollywood? Of course! We must keep our foot in the door." The woman who'd asked that question frowned. "But shipping that many items to California is going to cost a ton on freight. And Bennett said to conserve costs when we can, and conserve?" Mr. DeVille's voice rose. He clapped the clipboarded man on the back. "How do we conserve when we're trying to grow? You need to spend money to make money, Bennett. I keep telling you that." "Yes, sir," said the man with the clipboard, who appeared to be sweating. Anita assumed that was Bennett. He was younger than Mr. DeVille by about 10 years, maybe more, with warm brown skin and brown hair. He wore a smart navy blue watch on his left wrist, and Anita noted he fiddled with it whenever Mr. DeVille was talking to him. "Rita Galante asked if you could make something exclusive for her to wear at the premiere of her next film in London," said the woman. "The event is in 3 weeks. Do we have anything that would work for her?" "No," Bennett cut in. "There is just no time to get something together that fast. Now, if she wants to come into the factory, we could see what we have already, and..." Bennett, Mr. DeVille put an arm around him. "We can't say no to Rita Galante. She's the next Hepburn." Bennett frowned. "You think?" "I hear she's difficult, sir." "Difficult is the mark of genius. Let's find a way to make this work, all right?" "Yes, sir," said Bennett, writing furiously on the clipboard again. "Mr. DeVille?" A meek voice in the back made everyone turn around. Anita saw it was the hotel worker from earlier. "We were hoping to have a word about your hotel bill. We've been calling your room all week, and..." "Bill?" Mr. DeVille appeared confused and looked at Bennett. Bennett stepped in front of the woman before she could reach Mr. DeVille. "I'm sorry about that, Richard." He put the clipboard under one arm and spun the watch around on his wrist. "I'll handle this." "Thank you, Bennett," said Mr. DeVille, walking towards the dining room, where his eyes landed on Stella. His face broke into a wide smile. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I would like time with my daughter and..." He noticed Anita. "And her guest." Dad, Stella said, looking like she might bounce out of her shoes. You were gone before I woke up this morning. Stella, my love, I'm sorry. Work called. How was your day? He kissed her on both cheeks and then put her hands in his before twirling her around. The motion made Stella do something Anita hadn't heard before, laughing out loud. And who is this in one of my favorite creations? Mr. DeVille asked, his arms still around Stella. For a moment, Anita paused, worried. Had Stella not told her father she was coming? Dad, meet Anita Weatherby, a school chum of mine, Stella said. Anita Weatherby, you say? Mr. DeVille shook Anita's hand and looked at her with interest. Seeing you in my design tells me we must add it to my collection. Thank you, sir, Anita said. What a compliment coming from Richard DeVille. Bennett, tell them the black cocktail dress is a definite. He looked at her again with interest. Weatherby, you wouldn't in any way be related to the Weatherby Diamond Weatherbys? Stella cut him off, sounding bored at having to explain this. Yes, the diamond is a family heirloom. Mr. DeVille motioned to the dining room table, where a worker held out his chair. That's serendipitous. I was actually just reading about the Weatherby the other day. I have a gown that would look spectacular with that necklace, and have made it my mission to get the necklace on loan for my big gala coming up. Stella did tell you about the gala, did she not? Anita side-eyed Stella, who nodded over so slightly and wondered, was this why Stella had befriended her? To get her father access to the diamond? No, she thought just as quickly. Stella had made fun of Lizzie for bringing the diamond up in the first place. Her fears were just playing tricks on her. Yes, Stella told me about it. It will be quite the event, sir. A server handed her a napkin for her lap, and the four of them, including Bennett, sat down at the same time. The other workers quickly and quietly filed out. Anita, sir, makes me think you're an employee. You're Stella. Anita, sir, makes me think you're an employee. You're Stella's friend, the first one she's ever brought home. Anita's face warmed, her initial fears forgotten. She and Stella were truly friends. She couldn't help feeling special to have been chosen to be part of her inner circle. I'm happy to be here, sir. Please, call me Richard. How modern, Anita thought. She played with the name in her mind. Nope, she couldn't do it. I'm not sure my mom would approve. She'd want me to be polite, Mr. DeVille. He chuckled. I appreciate the formality, Anita. It's up to you. He looked at his daughter. I'm just pleased to see Stella making acquaintances at her new school. She hated moving from the country, but with my business, we couldn't stay out there forever. For the House of DeVille to become a leader in fashion, we need to be where the action is. He gave her a look. Stella gets claustrophobic. The city is dirty and loud. So much construction, Stella said, waving away the rolls that were offered her. How could you find this place charming? He chuckled. London is invigorating. A whole new city rising up, and we get to be part of the excitement. He squeezed his daughter's hand across the table. I want to build a brand that will be among the greats, and that will last. One you can someday inherit. And to do that, you need to go to the finest school. He wrinkled his nose. Your old school was a lark. They couldn't prepare you for the cutthroat world of business and fashion like Highbrook will. Theodore said Highbrook is where all important children go to school. Theodore, Stella said under her breath and looked at Anita. Radcliffe. Oh, Roger's father. Now, Stella, Theodore has always been wonderful to both of us. When he said you needed to go to Highbrook for the finest education, I knew he was right. Her father dabbed his mouth with his napkin. I have high hopes you'll do well there and make me proud. Stella didn't respond. Anita wondered if he knew her place on the school leaderboard. No matter. Anita would help Stella improve her marks. Your headmaster called me to say you volunteered this morning at the animal shelter, he added as soup was placed in front of him. Volunteering on your own. What a splendid idea, Stella. Truly. As a board member, it looks good to see you so involved. Stella smiled at this, a genuine smile. As you always tell me, giving back is important, even if it is to animals. She took an angry spoonful of soup. Ugh, excuse me. He laughed again. Stella, it's time we got past this. It was barely a scratch. Dad, I have a scar, she said, as the salad course was brought out. I will never like dogs. He scoffed. You were just a child. We've met so many lovely dogs since then. You know it was your mother's dream for you to have an animal. She thought it would help you bond since you never were blessed with a sibling. He looked to Anita as he speared a piece of lettuce with his fork. Do you have any siblings? An older sister, she said, unsure if she'd actually consider Lizzie a blessing at this moment. Maddie, however, made coming home so much better. She couldn't imagine not owning a dog. How fortuitous to share your home with another. Wouldn't you like to share our home with a dog, Stella? A companion when I'm working long hours? Stella glared at him. No. He sighed. I've always wanted a dog myself, such majestic creatures. We can't have one in the hotel, Stella added, brightening at this thought. I guess we will have to look harder for a home for our own then, Mr. DeVille said. The two stared at each other almost as if they wanted to see who would blink first. Then they both broke into smiles and tucked into their salads. Anita could tell they were evenly matched and close. It made her wonder what life would be like if she could feel comfortable opening up to her parents like this way. Well, Anita, what can you tell me about Stella in her classes? Mr. DeVille asked in between chews. Stella says nothing about Highbrook, and I'm told marks won't be tallied for the semester for another month. Anita took a sip of cool water from the goblet in front of her, aware that Stella was staring at her sharply. Do not mention her grades. There's not much to tell, sir. Stella and I are in Miss Norbert's class together. That's how we both wound up volunteering at the Hampton House for Dogs and Cats. Miss Norbert volunteers there. The shelter has over 300 animals currently in its care. Mr. DeVille tissed and took a sip of water from his goblet. Poor things. Someone should really get the word out that there are dogs and cats there in need of adoption. Anita perked up. Actually, Stella had a splendid idea for that. A way to help the shelter and possibly your gala. Yes, Stella said, cutting Anita off. I told Miss Norbert that the best way to get those creatures adopted was to put them on display, and I can think of no better way to do that than your gala. Bennett frowned. You want to host pet adoptions at a fashion show? Richard eyed quiet Bennett. Mr. DeVille's fork hung in the air below his mouth. Go on, my sweet. Stella smiled at Bennett with satisfaction. Thank you, Dad. You and Bennett said you were looking for a hook for the gala, which is what you got me thinking. What if you could match a mutt to a model walking the catwalk? They could walk it together, and all the animals at the gala would be up for adoption. Next to each fashion ensemble would be information about the creature as well. You want to use dogs and cats in a fashion show? Her father asked. You just said you hate dogs. Well, I do, but the rest of London and the world doesn't, do they? Stella pointed out. And no fashion house has ever done a show with animals before. You'd be the first. Anita noticed he was drumming his fingers on the table. That is true. That's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. Is it, Bennett? You were just saying we need to make a splash. Yes, but... Bennett tried, but Mr. DeVille kept talking. And to put people in seats, we need more than just a fashion show. Everyone does shows. The shelter pets could be just a unique hook to fill the room. His smile widened. We make the show of the people, London in all walks of life. But the cost to change things now, Bennett tried again. Stella sat up straighter. We can have unique models, not just those usual bores you employ. What if we have teachers, a crossing guard, even a Bobby? Her father frowned. Maybe not a Bobby, but perhaps you could walk too, my dear. Everyone is always asking for you. Stella shook her head. I'm not walking with a dog. What about Anita? Me? Anita balked, her heart beating fast. Stella, I don't think I... Stella ignored her. She fits the sample size. Look at the dress she has on. She motioned to her. Anita, stand up again. Anita did as she was told and pushed her chair back from the table. Yes, the Audrey, said Mr. DeVille, one of my earlier classics. You should definitely wear it in the show. And she could wear the Weatherby, Stella added. That could be an added draw, don't you think? Yes, Mr. DeVille nodded vigorously. A Weatherby wearing the Weatherby carrying a shelter pet. A regular young lady on the catwalk. Why, Reynolds News would eat this up. He banged his hand on the table and the silverware lifted off the table. My dear, you and my dress might even make the front page. Anita felt her brow start to perspire, but she tried to stay calm. She wasn't good with the spotlight, but Mum would be thrilled. If she could get over her nerves, this could be her chance to project the confidence Stella said she was capable of. How could she say no? I am honored, sir, but I've never been up in front of a room before and modeled. She clutched the borrowed pearls around her neck. What if I mess up? Anita, you could do this, Stella said impatiently. Own the moment. It's yours to take. Own the moment? She never owned the moment before. She never had a moment before. Mr. DeVille and Stella stared at her as if waiting for an answer. All right, I'll do it. Wonderful, Mr. DeVille gave her a light round of applause. We need to get the details of this in motion right away. We only have 2 weeks before the event. Bennett, let's get going on this. Yes, sir, he said wearily. May I remind you that the invitations are already in the mail, and a change like this might require a change of venue. I'm not sure the event space we booked allow...
I thought your eyeballs in there.
It's right there, sweetie. Right at the corner.
Oh.
I'm not sure the event space we booked allows animals. You got it. Then we'll move the event. Bennett's eyes nearly popped out of his head. Move the event? Yes, this is the perfect solution. I've been thinking of the wonderful treatment we've gotten here at the Seville. I'm sure they'd let us do it in their ballroom. They don't allow dogs here, Bennett reminded him. They will for us. This new model for the show is perfection, her dad said happily, looking at Stella again. We will have Reynolds News and all the local stations here to cover the event. House of DeVille has yet to have a show here in London, he explained to Anita. There has been much interest in one, but I haven't wanted to do the same of old shows we're seeing in Paris and New York. He stared at the chandelier above the table. House of DeVille is a fashion entity all its own. We require something unique, like your family's diamond, you see. We're both cut from a different cloth, which means we don't go with the grain. We go against it. He beamed at his daughter. That's how Stella and I have always functioned. And so, a fashion show masquerading as a ticketed gala event for the who's who of London, plus everyday people as models, with the famed Weatherby on display, with a charity component, pet adoption. Now that is gold. He pounded his fist on the table again, and silverware flew off it. Make it happen, Bennett. Sir, while I respect your vision, we are already above budget on this, Bennett said, sounding nervous. We are bleeding money. You're so dramatic, Bennett. We're fine, Mr. DeVille boomed. We can't make money if we don't spend money. This is what I want. Make it happen. Bennett frowned, but nonetheless, his clipboard came back out and he started writing it at a rapid pace. Yes, sir. Good. And when you call Reynolds News to tell them about the change in direction, let them know that the Weatherby will be on display worn by one of the Weatherbys themselves. Oh, Dad, that's a splendid idea, Stella agreed. Don't you agree, Anita? Yes. Would Father allow it? When he wasn't being paid for the diamond's appearance. Yes, she thought. This is the perfect place for the Weatherby to make its debut in public. And after being displayed here, the offers to have it on loan would be tremendous. Wait till she told Mom and Dad about the offer. I'll have to get permission from my father, but I'm sure he'll say yes. He'll do it. It's a House of DeVille event. Our first in London, Mr. DeVille answered for her. This is a big deal. We'll give your family tickets to the event so they could see the Weatherby's London debut and yours. Anita had goosebumps as she sat back down at the table. That's so generous. Thank you, Mr. DeVille. Great. Now that is settled. Let's talk about the invitation update. Maybe Bennett could have personal notes delivered explaining how this is now a fundraising event, a pet adoption opportunity, Stella suggested. I like that. Something that screams animals. Mr. DeVille nodded. Like a fur envelope? Stella said hopefully. Anita didn't like the sound of that. She thought again of the Dalmatian pup she'd seen that morning. What about a black and white polka dot print, so that it looks like a Dalmatian? The shelter has two. Yes, they're dreadful, Stella chimed in. Two for adoption? Mr. DeVille's eyes widened. You don't say. I've always wanted a Dalmatian. We must have them in the show. Anita, you can walk with them. You'll be wearing black, and they'll look great with your dress. Stella pursed her lips, looking at Anita with interest. That would be a good contrast, black and white against all black. Or maybe we remake Anita's dress in red. Ooh, red, yes, Mr. DeVille agreed. There is no time for new dresses, Bennett burst out. And everyone looked at him. Sorry, we can't. We don't have the funds or the time. She wears what she has on. He waved a hand at her. In fact, she should take that off now before she gets something on it. Stella handed Anita another linen napkin. Bennett, don't be absurd. She's not changing her dress halfway through the first course. Anita will be fine. She isn't an animal. Anita was kind of in agreement with Bennett. What if she got something on this dress? Bigger fear. How was she going to walk a catwalk in the Weatherby in front of people? Could she do this? It was all Anita could dwell on through dinner, which went on for 2 hours of courses till the sky was an inky black. Would it be all right if I called my father? He's going to pick me up. No need, Mr. DeVille said. Bennett, please call down to the front desk and have someone take Anita Weatherby home. A private car home? I couldn't, Anita began to protest. We insist, Stella said. After she said her goodbyes and changed, Anita took the lift down to the lobby to get her ride. She headed to the front desk to inquire where to meet the car and waited behind a stocky older gentleman with thinning black hair. She was practically bouncing on her toes to get home to tell her parents that Richard DeVille wanted her and the Weatherby in his first London fashion show. Can I help you, sir? The woman at the desk asked the man in front of Anita. I'm here for a meeting with Richard DeVille. His voice was rather deep. The woman raised an eyebrow and looked discreetly at the clock. It was almost 8 p.m., late for a meeting. And who, may I say, is calling? Percival Faunswater, he told her, somewhat impatiently. We have an appointment. His assistant just called me an hour ago to set it up. Give him my name. He'll know who I am. Anita knew that name, but she couldn't remember why at first. Faunswater. Wasn't that the collector Mr. Stimpton said wanted to buy the Weatherby diamond? Why would Bennett call Mr. Faunswater in the middle of dinner? My apologies, Mr. Fontswater, said the woman at the front desk. Please head up to floor 12. Mr. DeVille is expecting you. The man turned then, facing Anita. Good evening, young lady, he said, bowing slightly. Good evening, Anita said, being polite. The man had a long face, bushy black eyebrows, and a lopsided grin that made him look almost as if he belonged in a cartoon. Anita had the sudden urge to pull out her notebook and sketch a picture of him on the spot. He smiled at Anita as he passed, placing his bowler hat on his head and whistling a melody as he headed for the lift on his way to Mr. DeVille.